two?
My two adults.
Very good. And how about these guys?
Thank you, and welcome back to another episode of the Movies About Movies podcast. I am David McLaughlin, the first host. The second host is
Mario from Boston.
Mario from Boston. We're so excited to be back here in 2024. I'm proud to say in 2023, we had a goal of one episode a month. We managed to knock out two of them. 2 episodes. So I think we can match and do plus one of that in 2024. Mario, the first 2 episodes, the mic was bad. How bad is it today?
You know what? I think we remedied that situation because I think we sound excellent on this side today. I hope. Pretty sure we do.
I think so too. I think the only complaints we've gotten about the first episode were about the mics. So I think we have a perfect podcast now. No more notes.
No, yeah, we've done it all. We reached the peak. The Spotify deal is coming. 300 mil at least. Joe Rogan, get the f out of our site.
Joe Rogan, get out of our site. You know, even NYT, the Daily, get out of our site. We don't want the smart people. We don't want the dumb people. We just want the people.
Just the people. Yeah, exactly. Come get some. Here we are dressed as your favorite starbursts. I come to talk to you about a movie we just saw recently, you and I.
Oh, yeah, right. Today's episode is about The Disaster Artist from 2017. Will also be, you have to talk about The Room if you're going to talk about The Disaster Artist. Me and Mario, we like to take this opportunity, though, to catch up. Today, it's February 2024. By the time this episode releases, this event will probably go by, but just to keep you up to date and to have some receipts, I made some bets for the Oscars I just wanted to catch up on. I know you're a bit of a betting man yourself. I only know baseball and movies, so this is my time to shine.
Yeah, bet the retirement house on it, baby.
I never want to bet the favorite.
Never.
But I put big money on Barbie to win Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Picture.
Love it. Love it.
I put The Boy and the Heron to win Best Animated Picture.
Mm-hmm.
I put Godzilla -1 to win for visual effects.
Yeah, I guess. All right.
And then I put Emily Blunt and Jeffrey Wright for best actors in their respective categories.
Ballsy. And I hope you're right. I hope you're right, especially with Jeffrey Wright. I love that. I love those picks. I don't know if I've bet as many as you have. I've really just bet for Barbie to win Best Picture, Marty to win Best Director, but I know I'm going to hedge the heck out of this because I'm a sore loser. And these odds are crazy too. They're all like plus 500, plus blah, 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 blah. So let's have some fun. It's tasty out here in these waters. We should be doing this more often is what I thought. Like, this is such a great idea. This would get me back into the Oscars, you know, watching that stuff. I don't know if you watch it as much. I don't really care.
I watched some of the awards this season. Like, I think it was the end of the Golden Globes. But I mean, with streaming and all the people cutting the cord with cable, it's kind of difficult to figure out where they are. And also, there's no rewatch value in those award shows.
Yeah, zero. Absolutely.
If a new movie's coming out, betting the over-under on how much it grosses. But then the people could kind of manipulate that, which would be very interesting.
That's also true. Damn, yeah.
You'd have a Wall Street bet situation.
Oh, do it, though. It's too much fun. I think so. Or, man, nah, it'll just make an art that's already getting, you know, exploited, just more exploitable. Yeah, let's keep it a little less dirty. It's already dirty.
If I'm right, this is the last episode of the podcast. I can't wait to sell out.
That's how you got to do it.
How about you, Mari? Have you been watching anything lately?
I've been watching a lot of what my girlfriend's been watching, which is Psych. That's like her comfort show. And because I forced her to watch my comfort shows for so long, I feel like it's only fair that she gets once every like 10 years or something.
After 9 seasons of Frasier, she gets 1 season of Psych.
I mean, it's like 9 seasons of Frasier, however many seasons of The Office, and everything else I put her through that she probably didn't enjoy as much, except for The Office. I know she loved that. But yeah, I mean, I ended up kind of liking it because there's so many movie references and stuff. And for a movie buff like this guy in pink here, I snickered a lot. I'm like, ha. That's funny. That's cute. And then I eventually, after each episode, I'm like getting more into it because they get more into it, and you see that they kind of have like a subtle respect and love for these movies and stuff that they, at first, in the first season, they just like reference and stuff. And then by like the third and fourth, they're like full on doing, like for instance, there was one where it was an episode of Jesus, what's it called? That David Lynch show.
Twin Peaks?
Twin Peaks, yeah. They had a couple of Twin Peaks actors in the episode, and it's just really charming. The jokes are really nice too. The jokes I thought would be too corny, but they hit just right.
Comedy snobs say that reference comedy isn't good because it doesn't have that evergreen lasting effect. Were there any references that were like too dated for the time?
No, I don't think so. One of my favorites is when he did the line from Sean Penn's Mystic River. Is that my daughter in there? Is that? But in this context, it was like some food truck driver that he loved got murdered. So he was like, is that Ignacio in there? is that Ignacio in there? So I thought it was just really charming. And I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that are like too outdated. I've never heard of this show before, mind you, before my girlfriend, but she's in love with it. She really likes it, so she got me into it. I like it.
I remember it airing because you always see those bumpers for shows. I feel like Psych and Monk have like the same image in my brain when I close my eyes.
Oh man, yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
I know nothing about either show. I could be way off.
Because I would think Monk too. You're right. Yeah, because they'd always put that shit side by side. Interesting.
Also, after a very successful run, kind of the Frasier of its own generation, moment of silence for the canceling of Young Sheldon. And with that, we look forward because I think it's fun. Let's just start talking about our favorite segment, the favorite line from the Disaster Artist. Because, I mean, the room's chock full of killer lines, but we don't need to rehash "Oh, hi, Mark" to each other.
No, I mean, it's a classic one, you know what I mean? But there's plenty of good ones, There's too many, I think. That's the hard part, really. Mine might be ha 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 ha, his amazing, incredible mocking laugh that I can't tell if it's definitely fake, but in the same time he could be cursed with this weird laugh. Anyway, the other one was when him and Greg are sitting in a diner and Tommy's a banker, so Greg is like,
what client? I cannot tell you. It's confidential.
It's just I don't know. It was the delivery of the line, so weird, so perfect. He's a magician.
He just seemed guarded for reasons he didn't have to be.
Yeah, for someone who is supposed to be so brave, right? That's what Greg said. He's really raw, brave. That's what attracted him to him in the first place, to help him with his own craft. I guess there's some of that, but there's also just more like him being so ignorant that he's bad, that he doesn't give a shit what other people think. And maybe that's just because he's so rich. That's where it comes from. He's just like, fuck you guys, I don't care. I don't know.
No, I think that's right, because when we dive deeper into it, there is like an inherent selfishness between Tommy and even James Franco himself.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. What was your favorite line though from the movie? Sorry.
Oh, it's right when they decide to write the movie. He says,
"It'll be great drama."
Tennessee Williams.
Okay. Just because he wrote a Streetcar Named Desire.
Yeah, he was yelling Stella and everything, but
and he likes that one bit.
I read a few Tennessee Williams.
So human emotion.
Yeah, huge emotion with it. But a lot of Tennessee Williams is like, it's very like gay coded in all of his plays. So the fact that this actor, from San Francisco, who is reciting Tennessee Williams and then wants to write his own drama like Tennessee Williams, I feel like maybe his stuff would be gay coded as well, right?
That would make sense, but does he know that he's doing it? Maybe a little.
I guess, wouldn't that be could be the pain or the source of the art in some type of way? Not that that's like where it comes from, but just the type of person who is compelled to create. All artists are gay. No.
Oh man, put that on a sticker and throw it behind a car, dude. That's gonna sell.
Oh no. I say that in like a joking way, but if just looking at me, they're going to be like, he means that in the 2005 way.
2005 way. Hopefully not. No, not in that way.
It's my masterpiece. Greatest drama since the Tennessee Williams.
It's not my favorite line, but I feel like it was like the line of the movie. That's like when Carol and Minette, during their break, I think someone just passed out, or actually she just passed out and collapsed. Yeah. And she's like, "We are actors, Greg."
You and me, people like us, even the worst day on a movie set is better than the best day anywhere else.
Interesting.
Is it though?
You just passed out from heat exhaustion, and your director doesn't give a shit.
Some days I've had on a movie set felt very much like an office day, except that office day lasts 12 hours.
Really? Damn, I didn't realize it'd be so bad, dude.
People in the movies, they work like 60-hour weeks for like 3 months, and then they hope that they get another gig right after that ends so that they can continue working 60-hour weeks. And then when it's dry, they can exhale, use up their savings, and then get back to it.
Oh my god, dude, that's way too That's actually crazy stressful when you lay it out like that. Yeah, that makes sense though. I mean, it's gig work.
Right. So I mean, obviously, we're both cynical, some more than others. But with that, a movie that's like talking about how good it is to work in the movies, I don't know. Is that the right perspective?
I don't think that's fair at all to say. And they should know that.
That'd be more true in a documentary, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think a single actor is going to be saying that, let alone a woman of her age, just from the experience of living an entire life. It kind of reminds me of when you go to an AMC theater and then Nicole Kidman has that whole walk-up thing. There's like the most famous line. She's like, somehow heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. They've changed that now, I think.
Oh, they couldn't have changed that. People love that.
I just saw Killers of the Flower Moon, and I was there to see everything, previews and all that. And I don't remember seeing it. I mean, you know what? I got up once to get slushies, so maybe I missed it during that. But I swear I didn't. I swear I saw a different version of it. But I was a little bit
a bit hazy with the memory.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like a theme of this podcast, though, because why else would the movie industry keep making movies about movies if it wasn't low-key propaganda for the industry itself?
It's a self-jerk Hollywood movie. And they picked on an artist, a scumbag artist, but an artist nonetheless.
Well, I think this movie, it both inspires artists to create. I think they really want to push this buddy dynamic of two guys against the entire industry, and they create their own little nucleus of happiness from that. But even like Carolyn's quote is supposed to inspire artists, but also tell them accept a certain level of abuse and maltreatment.
Yeah, like they're telling you, listen, there's an expectation, you know what I mean, of how much abuse you're supposed to take if you want to rise up through the ranks.
Yeah, so I mean, I just don't think it's as glorious to work in the movies as it seems. There seems to be a certain level of social currency if you say that you work in the movies, but also you can't like name drop because then that's in bad taste. But isn't that also kind of one of the cooler parts of it, is that you work with people that everyone knows? But it's not cool if you say it, so.
In those circumstances, I'd imagine there's like social circles where you do name drop and they'll love it. And then there's other social circles where you just like keep that shit to yourself. Because you know, like, oh, this guy doesn't give a fuck.
That's a good point, because there is someone that we know that was in a pretty widely spread video for a certain famous musical artist. Every time we had a conversation with him, he would bring up that he was in this video.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, every time, man. Oh, all I can say is that the dude did like 4 or 5 doses of acid, dude, in one day. And we talked about his love life. He never let me talk about myself. And then he just dips that, dude. And I'm like, fuck this guy, man. He's just bragging to me. Oh, yeah, dude, I did so much fucking acid today, man. Damn, man. All right, dude, finish up so that I can say my piece.
I know. And if he's listening to this, dude, finish up that college degree that someone else is paying for.
Yeah, no, do that. Because I don't know if you're getting any more of them gig works.
The Disaster Artist, when it came out, which, by the way, I didn't realize Roger Ebert became its own movie review site.
That's such a flex that he just uses his name. As imagine these people like are just using it in vain, and he's like, I have nothing to do with this. The review they did on it, have you read it? It's interesting.
Oh, yeah. One of the lines that I highlighted here is like, Franco's film, it suggests that it's easier to laugh at a clown than to attempt to understand why they're in the makeup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I thought that was so true for Franco's portrayal of Tommy, both in the movie and on the press circuit. Like, he's mean to him.
You were gracious enough to let me use your you're proud owner of the Disaster Artist, folks. You're just exposing him a little bit, and also of The Room, to show that he's a true Kino patrician. And I listened to the the special commentary stuff, and it was him, his brother, Greg, Tommy, the lead writer, I believe, and maybe one more person, but I don't think so.
There's another writer, you're right.
There was another, okay. And that whole time, man, there was an air of condescension, an air of like just Franco being like, I'm too good for this right now. Like, you're a joke. You're here because I let you be here. Like, I don't know. Which kind of leads me to the ending of the review of that same. I just have to bring it up because I think it fits so perfectly. Not to rip off more from this guy, but he says it perfectly here. I see Wiseau as an artist and his film as one made from a singular vision, however many bad choices it may include. It all makes for a baffling true Hollywood story, along the lines of what Tim Burton did for Ed Wood. But the Plan 9 director emerged from that film redefined as a passionate creator. By the end of Disaster Artist, Wiseau is still a joke. Which, I mean, you feel that's what Franco feels about Tommy in real life too, just with the commentary, the press conferences. There's no respect there, man. There's no respect at all there. And it's probably mutual too. I'm sure Tommy at this point realizes it. He gawks at his stardom, so he doesn't care.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to add some details to that too, during that commentary, Franco would regularly interrupt Tommy's answers to questions with like very leading questions, like, hey, didn't we do a good job with recreating your apartment? Like, how else do you respond to that besides, yeah, James, you did good. Congrats, you had a huge budget.
Yeah, exactly. I thought to myself, like, why is that so important to you? Like, that's nice, but how would we have known how it looked to begin? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? That would have given you freedom to whatever.
And like, to your point too, I think Franco's ego got hit early on in that commentary because he asked Tommy a question, and I think it was like, what inspired The Room? And Tommy answered that question as if he heard, what is The Room about? And then the fact that he answered it incorrectly, Franco just became like a jaded baby and then started poking him the whole time.
Like, immediately. And maybe that was what he was gonna do the whole time. Maybe it wasn't just that set him off, and that he was just gonna plan to be a dickhead and be mean the whole time. But that was weird. I guess you can't expect much more from these people, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Franco ended up winning an award for it, and he was thanking Tommy.
No way.
Like, Tommy reaches for the microphone, and Franco stiff arms him and is like, oh, no. You're being thanked. I'm going to be doing the talking. You're the monkey in sunglasses. Go over there and give me a thumbs up, and I'm going to talk and, tell Judd Apatow that thank you so much, Dad. You're like my dad. I love you, Dad. You did so well. Blah, 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 blah. And I think that Franco is so bad for doing that because, to the point of the person that wrote the review, I think why Tommy is the way that he is, I feel like he idolizes Western culture and sort of rejects whatever his own is. And it makes you question, like, why is that? Like, where does that zeal for, the American lifestyle come from? And that's what makes him so intoxicating through the movie and as a person, is that he is genuinely so mysterious, man. He doesn't like talking about himself, and I mean, he likes flexing, like stuff that he's done or his materials and stuff or how much money he has, but like, he won't tell you like where he's from. Like, even in the commentary, he just wouldn't say. But that's what makes him so cool. Yeah, I mean, this is a man that wears two belts, one to hold up his pants and one to accentuate his ass. That is directly from the Disaster Artist book.
So smart. That's so smart.
You can even see it on the press circuit that he's wearing two belts on Kimmel's couch.
Hell yeah.
He never lost his vision. He's as passionate as Ed Wood in that way. So I'm glad that they mentioned that like during the review, because obviously Ed Wood was the last episode.
And I think in the last episode, at least I mentioned, like, there's a level of delusion that Ed Wood must have had to do this so comfortably. And I think there's the same level. Is this the reincarnation? Because it's like, this dude's fucking delusional. If he thinks this is good, if he thinks showing his ass this many times, getting on some poor woman. Like, he's crazy, man. He is nuts.
Right. I wonder if that was rooted in some like idea that sex sells.
He must have. That's such an American tagline too. Sex sells. I bet he believes that for sure. Yeah.
And he thought of himself as like a James Dean type, and James Franco played James Dean in a movie, so then by transitive property he was okay with James Franco portraying him.
I'm sure he loved that. Meanwhile, he looks like he should be playing Count Dracula in every Count Dracula movie.
In a few minutes, bitch.
I wanted to get your opinion on what you think makes something bad art, because The Room is considered the best bad movie ever made. Some say it's paracinema, which just sounds like a word, just sounds smart to me.
You're not cool enough to put enough stank on that word to make me say it. Just delusion. There's got to be a very delusional director behind it, and it's got to make no sense.
The Room, it's not a good story at all, but it is entertaining.
Massively entertaining.
But with some of the pieces that they sort of get upset about with the Room, or what people say makes The Room bad, that they seem to quote all the time, I do think that in some cases there are like justifications an artist can make. So like I found bad art to be when you make a decision and you're not, as the artist, able to justify it. And I'm speaking for myself, like sometimes you do kind of BS it, or at least in classes you sort of did, because you're trying to figure out how to make choices that all point to the same direction in the vision. So like there is a certain level of delusion, right? Because you have to justify it to critics that call you out on it. And in The Room's case, I feel like there were certain things that people said, this didn't add up, but I think if the artist was there to defend themselves, they could sort of make the case, and then you could kind of accept that as a decision. The first one that comes to mind is the line about Guerrero Street.
Yeah, can you give me
It was like Greg's trying to talk to Tom, because Greg is hooked up with Tommy's wife, Lisa, and he's trying to sort of let him know that something may not be right with Lisa. And he was telling him, I knew this girl once. She had 12 guys. One of them found out about it. She ended up on a hospital on Guerrero Street. Ha ha ha. That's a crazy story, Greg. And people say, why do you keep laughing at that line? It's like he keeps laughing at that line because the idea of Lisa cheating on him is so crazy to him, is so outlandish that it makes him laugh. Like, I don't think that's a crazy or like a far-fetched reaction for a person to have.
Is that what was that his rationale? Did he also say that? Oh, is that okay?
As me who watched it, that was like a rationale that came to mind.
I got it more as just like a nervous laugh. It's like an okay thing to say. Like I don't know. Like how do I respond to that? Ha ha ha. Of course, he has a terrible laugh. It's not his fault, is what he should have said. Is like, well, fuck you, man. It's not my fault that I laugh like I'm mocking you. You know what I mean? It's not my fault. That's what it is, man. That's Tommy. He's a sarcastic guy.
Oh, I think the Johnny character reveals how lonely the real life Tommy was. Because the Johnny character was like a Vito Corleone type.
A Vito Corleone type.
The Godfather, like loved by all, like from the flower shop owner to the mother-in-law. He protects all the people around him with his wealth. He keeps Denny off the street. He's a safe place for Lisa's friends to hook up. Like, he is a staple in the community. If he got shot, it would make the paper.
It'd make the papers.
And I think that's what Tommy wants to be in real life. He wants to be like the rich benefactor that everyone loves by default because he's Tommy and they know that Tommy's only looking out for them. Similar to Ed Wood, I thought that Tommy was way more passionate about the project than, let's say, James Franco was about The Disaster Artist. Because to my point about bad art, if you were to ask James Franco why he made this movie, I feel like it's the same reason why Adam Sandler made Grown Ups. He wants to make, a paycheck and hang out with his buddies.
Yeah, dude. He wants to make it rain on him and his buds. If you want to do that, all right, but don't get an award for it. And don't pretend like you're doing the other dude a favor either. And you're making him out to be a joke.
That's true. His big win at the end is like a couple slides saying his movie made money. So now everything about the portrayal is forgiven because he's portrayed as a winner.
Yeah, dude. It's just because the music is emotionally uplifting in the end, and you give me these stupid little facts that I'm for sure not gonna verify when I get home.
Oh, that's so true. I've never fact checked a movie. Those titles are like gospel.
I don't care enough, dude. Like he could have said anything. Like, all right, sure. Like, I'm glad he got a bag too. Then, whatever. You think he's getting some points from the Disaster Artist? I hope so.
Oh, he went on a whole press circuit. I'll include some pictures, but the Times did a thing with him. There's like a Nerdist thing where he plays the Joker in an audition tape, so
I remember that.
It definitely elevated his fame for 15 minutes.
I remember a time when that came out, and then sometime later, Greg Turkington's interpretation of the Joker also came out, and then we had like a collection of these amazing Joker costumes throughout the years.
That reminds me, this episode is brought to you by the Victorville Film Archive, keeping tapes alive. Now that the ad break's done, I don't know why James Franco decided to recreate this movie today. Like, The Room came out in 2003. Yep. They're portraying events leading up to it, so we're talking like, late 90s. Do you think they're looking back too quickly?
Yeah, I think it was when I first heard of the movie coming out, I thought this is too fast. This is too quick, too fast.
And in the beginning, they talk about it like it happened a century ago.
It's so pretentious almost and obnoxious. You got a line of these A+ actors just talking about, oh, this is like amazing. This is the first thing of our generation. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I don't need you guys to tell me that. I know it's amazing, you dorks. It makes you feel like you just heard about this, you poser, and you just had to be in this movie so that everyone knows that you knew about this thing that got popular over the internet, and you don't know shit about the internet, so you weren't a part of it.
Yeah, it was my least favorite part of the whole movie. Everyone in that segment was just, who was hanging out with James Franco that day? I think we both agree that the Disaster Artist comes too soon after The Room. The trend in the industry, though, is to wait almost no time at all.
That's a good point.
Like, the World Trade Center movie came out in 2006.
Did it really? No way.
Only 5 years. I thought it came out like...
The one with Mark Wahlberg? Because there's a few of them.
I think it was the one with Mark Wahlberg, but to that point, Patriots Day came out in 2016, only 3 years after the event. The Steve Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher came out in 2013. Jobs died in 2011.
Oh, that means the development must have started a week after he died, man. After they got that confirmation that, like, we need to get rights to the coffee shops he goes to. We need rights to blah, blah, blah.
They took that Walter Isaacson book and then turned it into a movie. And then they did that again in 2015 with the same guy.
Cold-blooded, man. I guess, I mean, they just expect that the American public has, like, shit for brains and that we'll just forget stuff, but I don't know. It's not healthy.
I think we should switch it up and make it a bit happier, though. Mario, if you were to give The Room another title, what do you think you would give it? Because that's one of the bad artist justifications that I agree with. It's the most generic, terrible title and should be changed.
If I were to do that, I'd want to like focus on something that's really important to the movie, like a staple, and that'd be the football in the movie and Tommy's infatuation with football. So I think I'd want to call it Football in like big bold letters, and then in cursive right below it, an American football story. by
I love that it says football twice.
by
in the
Tommy
title.
Wiseau. Yeah, no, it has to. It has to, cuz that's what he does. He really beats the point to you. You know what he's very direct when he talks to you. He has a very Eastern Bloc way of direct talking to people. I admire that. How long has he been living in Louisiana? You know, we don't know.
His whole life.
So that's what he tells us, which leads me to the next title. I thought was maybe Leaving Louisiana might be a better name for the movie. I think that fits so much better. Like it's so simplistic and beautiful, and and it fits.
I think alliteration is never wasted in titles.
What about you? What would you go with?
I'm a lazy guy. I don't like to change a lot.
Fair.
So I would just drop the M, add in an F, and call it The Roof.
Why not? How many scenes were there? And they were all integral, by the way.
He moved the Chris R scene, which, by the way, was the best acting and best cameo in the movie, with Zac Efron playing Chris R. And then, plus during the movie, too, they took the Chris R scene, they moved it from an alley to on the roof, because Tommy believes the roof is more dramatic.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was going to say cinematic.
No, it's more dramatic. And our movie wants to be a great drama like Tennessee Williams. And I believe Tennessee Williams was famous for Cats on a Hot Tin Something.
Oh yeah, that one. I'm sure Tommy's read it. He's never read Tennessee Williams in his life. Ever, dude. He just likes that one bit from A Streetcar Named Desire because of Marlon Brando's, kick-ass performance, you poser-ass poser. He acts like such an immigrant poser, and I can say that, by the way, so it's okay. There's some Spanish immigrants who come here with some poser-ass mentality where they come and they forget completely that they eat rice and beans and fucking pupusas every day, and they're all about American stuff and hamburgers and McDonald's, and as low class and as like gross as that might be to other people or some Americans, to them it's like I'm eating that American stuff. I'm listening to hip hop and I'm listening to pop music that's all in English and etc., and this is just better. And Tommy gives those vibes, man. He gives those vibes as like wants to be part of that American stuff, but you're not, man. You're an immigrant, man. You need to own up to that and accept that, man. If his next movie was set in whatever Yugoslav Eastern Bloc country he's from, I'd support the hell out of that. That'd be cool. Do that, dude. But that's what makes this movie so unique, because what other crazy delusional immigrant with that much money just decided I'm gonna make a movie, man.
You're right. I should say you're right, but
that's right.
I can't speak for any of that experience. You are right about him being very defensive whenever someone tries to distance himself from like what he believes to be his roots in Louisiana, or even more so when people try to point out his age.
Or even just like, man, I don't believe for a freaking second that he's read from any playwright. I just don't believe it. I don't think he cares that much about it. I also don't believe that he wrote it. Did he write the script? He didn't write the script, right? Greg wrote the script.
You don't think he has the ability to type?
I think he might have like set it into his phone and it recorded every other word. Maybe that's why it sounds so weird.
It could be an Ed Wood situation where he hired someone to type while he talks.
And you know what? He has Franco to blame for portraying him to look like a lazy, mean asshole who was like creepy and manipulative. Yeah, and was like a user, dude. Just using Greg.
I mean, we gotta be honest. He is creepy.
He is, man. He is creepy.
In the Disaster Artist book, you know the scene where he meets Greg's mom when they're about to move to L.A.? In the book version, the mom says to Tommy, "Please don't have sex with my son."
No.
Yes.
Oh, no. And they decided not to. They were like, we're not going to put that in the movie.
Yeah, they probably needed to get his approval in the end. He said that the book is only 40% true.
There was only 2 parts where Tommy was like, oh, like I'm only interceding in these 2 parts. But I'm sure that was one of them that he didn't want to mention. That's the 3rd part. That's gross, dude.
That on top of calling him babyface.
Yeah, babyface. That's bizarre, man. Like, this isn't the 1950s where you give people names like that because you need a way of remembering them in like 10 years because you don't have phones. Like, that's weird, dude. Don't call him that. He was like, what? How old was he when he just moved in? He was mad young, right? He was like 16 or something. No, he was young. He was older. He was older.
What you were bringing up before with the ages, I remember when he was talking to Denny about ages? Because Denny was like, how old am I? He's like, you're the age you are. He's like, 26? He's like, no, 15, 16.
56, same thing, whatever. I'm like, what the fuck?
You're so old that you can't distinguish between a teenager and someone in their late 20s.
Yeah, man. Again, delusion. Crazy delusion.
That is also creepy.
And creepy to me, yeah.
But despite all that creepiness that they just brushed aside because they're good at doing that.
Yep, it's Hollywood, baby.
They created this kind of buddy drama about two guys achieving their dream. The critics didn't like it too much. From all the things that we watched, like Red Letter Media, they said it was a worse version of Ed Wood.
That's a great, quick summary to not waste anymore. Yeah, that's a good, yeah.
We don't want to just hear from Red Letter Media. We want to hear from the people. And the people, out of 163,000 user ratings, that's a big sample size.
On what?
We don't have to give the movie review website credit.
No, that's right.
There's sometimes a streaming service, I think. They're really bad at advertising that. You know what? They should pay us, and I can clear the air for everyone what exactly they do. Overall, they gave it a 7.3 at the time of this recording.
7.3? Oh, I thought it'd be higher, to be honest. I'm surprised by that.
I think if it was as good as Ed Wood, it would be in the 8s. I really liked this movie the first time I saw it.
Same.
And then doing this podcast, you do a little more research and you look at the source material and you just kind of look at it, I think, so much that it ruins it a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was eye-opening, even the second time watching it, because I didn't like it as much.
Yeah, man. Me either. The moments I was looking for from my first view through wasn't hitting as much. It just felt like I was in on the joke now, and it wasn't funny anymore. The magic was gone.
Yeah, I felt a little mean watching, and I shouldn't say that mean watching it, but I felt like it came from a mean-spirited place.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure.
And it was more like something like positive trolling, where you're making fun of them, but you're acting like you're not making fun of them. And I think that's a very insidious part of internet culture that I think specifically dudes like to sort of portray. So for that, I give this a 6.66. Because that's some devil shit.
That's right, yeah. Stamp on that. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, man. I mean, same reason. It's mean-spirited at the end of the day. Not as funny as it was my first time watching it, or my fourth time now. There's a fakeness to it. There's a fakeness to it and a snottiness to it now that I see, and it just ruins it, you know what I mean? And I hope, and I'm sure it'll happen, that this will be remade again, and it'll be fucking great if they add The Disaster Artist, a remake of how the disaster art, or I don't know, something, you know what I mean? You're like,
yeah, sometimes biographies get an extra chapter like after the release, and I could see it being something like that where it's like almost its own. It seems like it'd be like a made for streaming only type of thing. Something Netflix would throw money at.
It would have to be its own thing.
It seems like it punches down, and then it also tries to raise up Hollywood as an industry, which I don't think needs any more raising. And then you have to ignore the hypocrisy of James Franco being the one to do it. And then he's either presenting or accepting an award wearing a Time's Up pin, which is all about the Me Too movement in Hollywood and Harvey Weinstein.
Oops.
Meanwhile, Franco's got his own allegations of his own from teenagers.
Oops.
As well as, I believe Busy Phillips said that she was pushed down by him on Freaks and Geeks.
Oh, he was everywhere. I'm telling you that right now. And you know what? To add to the Hollywood worship part of it too, going back to the commentary, there was this part where the lead writer told Franco, like, how was it like directing Judd? And then Franco just went off on like a self-masturbatory like 5-minute tangent, like, oh man, it was such a weird experience, you know, because you're so used to blah 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 blah, and he's the guy that made it happen for me this whole time, and blah blah. Oh, and he was so good. Like, he wasn't that good. Shut up, man. Like, it's very self, like, patting yourself on the back and stuff. And it's the vibe where you got Adam Sandler and his buddies just hanging out, getting paid, you know what I mean? Or Joe Rogan and those 5 podcasters that ain't never been funny, you know, that he keeps rotating. It's that same vibe, and I think that's what this movie kind of was too. It was a hefty paycheck where he got a Golden Globe out of it, and he got some internet points too, because normies I think will like this and then not like The Room somehow. But yeah, I hope that the new generation has the bravery to remake The Room. To remake The Disaster Artist. Something to that effect, you know. They gotta troll The Disaster Artist is what I'm saying. Somehow. They can't get away with this. You know what I mean? They gotta do it again.
Yeah, this podcast isn't enough of a takedown. Like, someone's got to take the reins and really go some distance with it. So looking ahead to the next episode of the podcast, The Disaster Artist, of course, came out in 2017. Ed Wood was in the 90s. Singing in the Rain was even before then. I thought it'd be a good idea to keep moving forward in the timeline and check out the movie The Fabelmans, which is supposed to be about Steven Spielberg's life. I think Jurassic Park is one of the most perfect movies ever made. I also wanted to give us kind of a break because we keep picking movies where we have to watch other movies to get the context of the original. And I think we've all seen Jaws, we've seen E.T., we've seen Jurassic Park. So I don't know. I haven't seen this movie at all. I don't know if you have either, but
I haven't, no.
It's going to be some new territory for us. My biggest fear is that it ends up being a movie that's not really about making movies.
Yeah. That'd be hilarious.
Like the last second he picks up a camera and he's like, oh, this is the path. Yeah, if that's the case, that'll be a 15-minute episode. We'll definitely beat 4 in 2024.
I'm down for it, man. I'm ready for it. Steven Spielberg. That's cool. Is it too early, Gloff? Because he's still alive.
He is still alive. Yeah, that's true. But I think we would agree his best work is behind him.
Oh, give him some credit. There's still a chance. There's still a chance. No, yeah, maybe not. He had such a good run. I mean, you said it. Jurassic Park might be the perfect movie. Jaws 2, another movie with so much undertones and symbolism. It's Fidel Castro's favorite movie. Did you know?
No, I didn't know that.
Did you know what the movie's about in his interpretation?
No, let's give me this nugget.
I'll leave it for the next episode now. I'll leave it for the now. I won't say don't look it up. But it really was his favorite movie, which goes to show you like the respect that Spielberg has around the world, that even a communist, leader was like, dude's got some stuff to say.
I think that's the simplicity of it. Doesn't matter who you are, you know a good movie when you see it. You don't need to be a critic. Critics are gatekeepers in that way, but I guess that's probably why Letterboxd is so big now. So I guess to sort of wrap The Disaster Artist, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but if you're to give like a quick, maybe 15-ish second Letterboxd review of your findings on The Disaster Artist or The Room, I'll let you choose one or the other. What would you say about it?
It was a mean-spirited attempt at creating a good like troll bio movie. It could have been the first of its kind, and he biffed it.
All right. I like it. Thank you for going first a lot to give me a little extra time to think of my answer. I would say James Franco punches down while sipping Hollywood Kool-Aid. Hey, good job, Zac Efron. And if you ever see me with a chiseled jawline, know that I got plastic surgery from the same guy that did his face in Matt Rife's.
Zac Efron getting some positive strays. Good for him, man.
So in the spirit of James Franco, I just ended with a joke that was definitely punching down. Or, no, it was laterally at least.
Yeah, that dude's a millionaire. We're fine. We're fine.
All right. Well, with that, we'll see you guys in episode 4. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. See you guys.
Ha ha ha.